Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're back with another team outlook. This time it's the Arizona Diamondbacks. And Blake, they hit the lottery a little bit with Corbin Burns this year. Corbin Burns wanted to go to the D-backs. They were able to get a deal done. That's their big fish of the offseason. They also traded for Josh Naylor. They brought in Kendall Graveman, Randall Grichuk, Shelby Miller, and Garrett Hampson. They did lose Jock Peterson, though, and they lost Slade Ciccone, Josh Bell, Paul Sewald, and the big loss in Christian Walker. Um, Blake, what's your feeling before we get to the lineups, before we get to the rotation? You know they lost Peterson. You know they lost Christian Walker. That you know they lost Josh Bell. Is Corbin Burns adding him to this rotation enough for them to one compete for the division with the Dodgers and two get back to the playoffs?
I think it is. And I think the addition of Josh Naylor is a good enough plan B to the loss of Christian Walker. I think Josh Naylor is going to be a good fit in that ballpark. Obviously, he's a pending free agent. So that's kind of just like putting a band-aid over the loss of Christian Walker. It's not a long-term fit unless obviously they extend him. But having Corbin Burns fall into their lap is something that Arizona probably didn't have on their radar. They probably didn't think they were going to be in the market for a guy like Corbin Burns. And whenever you have a guy that, like you said, wants to be there, that's awesome. So Slade Ciccone had some promise last year. Obviously, he goes over to Cleveland in that Josh Naylor trade, and is it enough to compete with the Dodgers? Probably not. But is it enough for them to compete for a wild card spot? Absolutely, I think it is. You have a nice 1-2 punch with Corbin Burns and Zach Gallen now, and there's a lot to like for sure.
Well, let's go take a look at it. This is how the rotation and lineup sit going into opening day. It's Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte, Gurriel, Naylor, Eugenio Suarez, Jake McCarthy, Gabby Moreno, Pavin Smith, and Geraldo Perdomo. On their bench, they have Herrera, Hampson, Grichuk, and Alec Thomas. I really like this lineup. Corbin Carroll has to do Corbin Carroll things. He's got to get him back to what he was 2 years ago. Last year, slow start, picked it up.
Yep.
He was decent, but it wasn't that rookie Corbin Carroll, right? Um, Ketel Marte is one of the most underrated players in the league in the past 3 seasons.
Yep.
Lourdes Gurriel, big pick me up since moving from the Blue Jays over to Arizona. Josh Naylor is gonna hit bombs, but like you said, it's a 1 year thing. We'll see how it pans out. Eugenio Suarez, a lot of swing and miss, but he's gonna hit some bombs.
Yep.
Jake McCarthy is the guy that if you can get any improvement in the power part of his game, to me, he's the dark horse of could be one of the best players on this team. But we'll see, right? Like he's gonna steal the bases. He's gonna play good defense.
Yep.
But if you can get any pop out of Jake McCarthy, and I'm just saying like 15 to 17 homers, uh, that's gonna be he could be one of the best players on this team in my opinion, and hit at the top of this lineup. Gabby Moreno was really good last year. Pavin Smith, we'll see. They haven't said as the DH right now. Maybe they could have went and got like, I know he's older, but like a JD Martinez,
Yeah.
brought him back for a second stint.
Yep.
I wouldn't have hated to see them do that.
Yeah.
Even though he's not going to be that 30 homer guy, he's still a professional hitter and is known for his hit tool. I wouldn't have hated to see them do that. I know it kind of crowds that DH. But that bench and Herrera, Hampson, Grichuk, and Thomas, it kind of scares me. The depth is a little non-existent if one of these guys go down to injury.
Yeah. No, it's an exciting team for sure. Obviously, the top of that lineup is very good. The top four is going to do a lot of damage, and this team is good enough to, I think, to make a wild card team. And when you get down to the pitching there, it's really good. Gallen, Burns, Kelly, Erod, How do you pronounce that name again? Brandon?
Brandon fought.
Brandon Fought, yeah. I had some trouble with that one last year on the channel, but there's a lot to like. And that Justin Martinez is a guy for me that I'm going to keep an eye on in that bullpen. He's been absolutely lighting up the radar, and it's going to be interesting to see kind of who wins that closer's role. Right now, Martinez and AJ Puck both have the closer's role next to him, so maybe they platoon it. But yeah, there's a lot to like for the pitching side with this team.
Yeah, Kevin Ginkel, he was electric 2 years ago.
Yep.
You know, I that's a guy that I could see potentially get some save action as well as we move throughout the season. But Jordan Montgomery right there at the bottom, that's the guy that they're paying a ton of money. He's having a bad spring. Do they just cut their losses or they keep him as depth? I don't know. I
Oh,
mean,
man.
right now, if you trade him, I mean, maybe the Yankees bite if the D-backs want to just get rid of some money and they're familiar with Montgomery and they need some rotation depth. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. I'm just thinking, I mean, the
Yeah.
Mets have had a ton of injury. Their rotation looks nothing like we thought it was going to going into the season. Um, it wouldn't surprise me to see Jordan Montgomery get moved before opening day. Um, but it's gonna have to be creative, and maybe the D-backs are just like, we'll just eat it this year, and hopefully can figure out throughout the season. And if not, we DFA him and we move on and cut our losses. But if we head over to the standings, shocker, they have the Dodgers projected to win the division
Yep.
with 97.5 wins, and second place they do have the D-backs, 86 wins. Um, the Diamondbacks, I think, will compete for this division for the most part of the year. Obviously, it's hard for us to go against the Dodgers. They are the Avengers of MLB.
Yeah.
Um, but the D-backs do have a 60% chance of making the playoffs. I think what helps them is the Giants, in my opinion, don't look too strong this year. And the Rockies, of course, are the Rockies, and they've been bad for whoever, how long now.
Yeah.
So they get to play the Rockies for most part of the season. 15 games at least. They got to make the most out of that.
Yep.
I think just having the Rockies in their division pushes them over the hump if they take care of it. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go the over on 86 wins. I think it's only by one win or two
Yeah.
wins,
Yeah.
and I do think they will be a playoff team.
Yeah, I think the 86 is pretty bang on for this team. Like maybe one or two the other way, but yeah, this team is a playoff team for sure. I think they're a wild card team, probably first wild card to be honest. And it's going to be tough to compete with the Dodgers. But just quickly going back to that Jordan Montgomery thing, quick. The relationship is definitely fractured. I mean, whenever you have an owner come out and publicly say like that was a mistake to sign him, like it's just hard to come back from something like that as an athlete. And you hope that can get you know repaired, but it's gonna be very tough to see that moving forward for sure.
Yeah, and maybe they came out and said that to try to fuel some fire. I don't know.
Right.
But who's nobody's taking that contract in full. You're gonna have to eat some, and
Yeah.
um, I don't know the D-backs at this point. I mean, why not just keep him as depth? I mean,
Right.
depth is depth, whether it's bad or good. I mean, obviously he's done it in the past and has been really good in the past. So
Yeah.
um, maybe it's just spring, right? It's just spring.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
there's aces that have terrible springs, and then you get in the season, it's like, what the hell just happened in spring training? A
Right.
week later, you're back to being an ace, right? So,
Right.
um, if I was the D-backs, I'd hold on. I'd hold on just a little bit longer, but they do their rotation's pretty full,
Yep.
and yeah. But that's gonna do it for this one. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. As always, we appreciate you guys for listening and watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Later.